Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Kit Daniels wrote the story. It's up on REH Domestic Terrorism Division, previously labeled Libertarians, Conservatives as domestic terrorists. And they go on in the hour-and-a-half video that we played clips of yesterday to say the threat is the sovereign citizen patriot Tea Party movement. That's the key, and the story is going viral. We're going to add more to the story as the day unfolds. We're going to continue adding more research and more documentation to that article and breaking it down today. I mentioned the fact that the trial has been going on this week of two of Ron Paul's and Rand Paul's former aides, including a chief of staff. This is pointed at trying to connect something to Ron Paul or Rand Paul. And the thing they claim the aides have done is just, from my reading of the campaign law, quote, giving someone campaign money who's a libertarian and then they in turn endorse you. That's how you create a political movement or a political party. So this is what the feds do. If Dinesh D'Souza and you make the biggest or second biggest political documentary in history, you're about to make the biggest, they indict you. The persecution of tens of thousands of Christian groups and Tea Party groups and veterans and gun groups by the IRS. I mean, we know the orders went out to do this. So even if you could argue that maybe these people have done something, maybe they had a smudge on their jacket or maybe a crooked toenail, you can't have the big master criminals who are above the law and run fast and furious and run import-export deals at the State Department for millions of dollars per agreement. I mean, it's just open and shut, completely over-the-top evil. And then you've got these people persecuting a political war, prosecuting the persecution of anyone who is not an absolute anti-American globalist. So that's some of the news on that front. Huge developments, obviously, in the Middle East and in Europe. Convert or die. ISIS graffiti jihadists declare first European caliphate. Now even mainstream media reports, AFP, that Merkel faces domestic revolt over refugee crisis. Huge offensives being launched by the Russians and their coalition in Syria. We're going to go over that. More on what's happening in Israel. Terrorist disguised as journalist stabs IDF soldier. FBI probe of Clinton email focused on gross negligence provision. We're going to also get into why they're going after the Pauls. Ron Paul, greatest resistance to Federal Reserve audit is desire to keep international activities secret, which we've now proven they rig the interest rates, they rig the currency rates, they rig the major stock market indexes and selectively give unlimited billions and overall trillions over the years to select corporations. It is simply so gargantuan, it is hard to fathom. We're also going to get into a large science stack that I have today. Children becoming hunchbacks due to addiction to smartphones. Pretty much everybody is that works at a computer. But children especially, they don't even really talk. And they admit the language has gotten smarter. I mean, it's gotten smaller, the opposite of smarter. Smartphones could be worse for your skin than the sun. Shock claim, world on the brink of 50-year ice age as Britain will bear the brunt. That all ties in with this interesting scientific news. Scientists claim zapping brains with magnets can treat belief in God. Maybe giving you a lobotomy could, too. Did Parallel Universe open up? 100-sea floating city filmed in skies above China. Can anybody say Project Bluebeam, mass projections? That's what experts believe it is. They admit they have those programs. The Pentagon's tested them. It's all coming up today. No guest, open phones. David Knight, of course, will be popping in, so stay with us. Here are some of the headlines on Infowars.com. Merck whistleblower warns of the internal plan for forced national inoculations. In studio yesterday with Rob Dew in the fourth hour. That's the type of breaking hardcore intel we're bringing you on a daily basis. Look at this headline. Villains in new Captain American comic are opponents of illegal immigration. Absolutely. What they are is they're white people defeated by the black Captain America, because the very essence of having any border and the existence of white people is terrorism. And they are terrorists. He does take them out. And it's almost every cartoon, every show. I tuned into a Green Lantern show that Jakari covered a few years ago, and it's tricorner hats, and George Washington has basically come from the past and is taken out by Green Lantern. This is the traitorous level of who runs our country. Just like in Machete, Don Johnson, the white sheriff, goes around shooting pregnant Hispanic women in the stomach who beg for their lives. There's no known case of that on the border. 100,000 people have been killed by the drug cartels. Our government shipped tens of thousands of weapons in that killed thousands, fast and furious. It's our criminal hijacked government killing Mexicans, along with the criminal Mexican government and Mexican army that is the drug cartels. But it doesn't matter, because Marvel Comics, and we're going to go over this in a moment, when they're done, it doesn't matter. They even had a Marvel comic last year that was me. And I'm the bad racist Tea Party guy taken out. I just remember that. I mean, there are so many examples of this. It's crazy. And our young people just sit there believing this. Can you imagine being a Hispanic person who's whether a citizen, here illegally, whatever, and you're just forced into this whole thing where you're told all the white people hate you? And then Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and Obama visit you with all these Ford Foundation operatives with a straight face going, if illegals from China, from Eastern Europe, from Latin America can't come here and have their babies for free and have everything paid for, it's racist, and we're sorry you're so hated. When Mexico has some of the most draconian borders in the world. And I'm not even defending that. The point is, it's just so hypocritical. It's so crazy. In fact, there's a piece that the mainstream news did on the Captain America piece. It's on Infowars.com. Grab that video, guys. I want to play that at the bottom of the hour when I detail this and go over the comic itself. We have the comic. So if you're a radio listener, by tonight or tomorrow, we'll have the video up on Infowars.com. You can go there now and see the tiles, see the video, but we'll have this live report by tomorrow. But if you want to watch it live, Infowars.com/show. And the issue I'm getting at here is that this is a full court press. Almost every drama, every cop show, every mystery show, every conspiracy show, every comic show, superhero show that I rarely see in a hotel room on vacation. I'll be trying to let my kids watch television while we eat room service or something. I don't let them watch a lot of TV at home. And I'll turn on Nickelodeon, and for shows for 7-year-olds, they're pushing homosexuality. I tune to another channel, and sure enough, there's an evil right-wing polluter group being taken out by the leftist superheroes. And I tune to the next channel, and it's just like mentally ill, short attention span brainwashing with all this flash animation moving so quick with subliminals, it's meant to rewire your kids' brains on record. So there's not just propaganda, there's savage brainwashing going on to rewire your children's brains. And by the way, remember 15 years ago, Pokemon in the United States and Japan caused tens of thousands of convulsions? You know why? Because they're able to flash a flicker rate with a television. It's so powerful that you actually go into convulsions. And children are more susceptible. Now, that's when they turn it up too high. Just like when you get a bad reaction to a vaccine, it's just meant to brain damage you. It's just meant to lower your IQ. But if you have a really bad reaction, you never talk again, and they're in diapers for the rest of your life. And it's the same thing. You're not meant to completely run off the, fall off the balcony when you're watching TV on the porch or whatever when you watch Pokemon. But they tested it to such a high flicker rate that it put people into convulsions. By the way, you think I'm joking. I see, there's so much intel, my brain is just burning. I mentioned the new Captain America who's black, who takes out racist white people who want to have a border because the racist white people are down at the border murdering Hispanic families. How dare you, cowards, kill the innocent Hispanic women? I, Captain America, will now kill you. We support the Constitution in America. We are the Death Serpent. Remember Red Skull? He was Hydra with the Nazis. Here is Marvel Avengers. Here's the issue for everybody. This is 004 from, 2 years ago. Look who Red Skull has working for him. Alex Jones. That's right, I work for Red Skull. You didn't know I worked for Red Skull against the white Captain America, who's now been killed, of course? And we have the black Captain America. It wouldn't be bad if they had a black Captain America. I don't care. Black Green Lantern, whatever. But see, it has to be a black Captain America. We'll put the new article up. Because the black Captain America takes on the all-white evil serpent group. And the Mexican families beg, please don't kill us, but don't worry. You saw Don Johnson kill that pregnant Hispanic woman. It didn't really happen, but it doesn't matter. You know who really is killing the pregnant women? They're killing their capacity to have a baby. It's the loving vaccines and the forced Gardasil, confirmed mainstream news to be linked to autoimmune disorders, death, convulsions, and reduced fertility or sterility. But that's okay because La Raza and Mecha, for those in the race, everything, those outside the race, nothing, it's okay. Because the group that comes and says, we're here to protect you, we're here, we're with your race, just like a white supremacist group tells the whites in the prison, we're going to protect you. But really they just feed on them and use them as their muscle to carry out criminal operations. Just like black street gang leaders feed on their members. It's the same thing. And they'll never tell you they're killing you and laughing at you. Oh, yes, I want to have something of a border and not pay for the whole third world to come here and be filled full of political hate towards the Republic by the giant brainwashing machine of Telemundo and Marvel and CNN and MSNBC. So I'm the Red Skull in this issue. The Red Skull has the Tea Party working for him. And it's so sick. And they do other things that this isn't subliminal, but they have subliminals in Comedy Central, ABC News, NBC News, mainstream television shows, but also on Ron Paul, where they'll flash meth head in Ron Paul for just 1/10 of a second. Or they'll flash for 1 second InfoWars saying Michael Jackson lives with aliens on a space station and Alex Jones is a kook. They'll just hit you knowing your subconscious takes it in. We have that video up on Infowars.com, hammering you and your family with hatred, hammering you and your family with lies, hammering you with disdain, hammering you with fraud, hammering you with Jeb Bush's operative, who's a known top operative, thinking you're so dumb, with her hands on her hips going, why do you hate women, Donald Trump? Hammering you with fraud. Yeah, I'm the Red Skull now. I work with the Nazis. When, again, I almost don't exist because of World War II, and both my grandfathers almost died with Purple Hearts. Both of them almost died in the Army Air Corps, so I get to have sacks of crap like the ADL try to imply I'm a Nazi, while they defend and give their highest award to George Soros, an actual Nazi collaborator who now backs real Nazis in Ukraine murdering tens of thousands. And George Soros is back in the news saying open up all the borders in Europe or you're racist. And his native country is saying, how dare you? This is how sick this has all gotten. This is how unbelievable it is, where if you're a patriot, you believe in free market, private property, family, right to defense, basic national sovereignty. You have Department of Justice creating a new anti-terror team saying the Tea Party is going to carry out terror attacks and that they're going to federalize local police under UN treaty. Mainstream press release, and I get guests on here that are informed and they can't even believe it and tell me to my face it mustn't be true. That's how hardcore this is. That's how traitorous this is. But if you're going to go evil, why not go all the way? And that's what the criminals that have hijacked this government have done. Who do they say the #1 terror threat is? Returning veterans. #2, veterans. #3, Christians. #4, the Tea Party. And down the line. Every group with the lowest crime rate. Every group that's the most patriotic. Every group that's the hardest working. Every group committed to freedom. Every group committed to this republic. Demonized, lied about. Police departments from Indiana to Oregon to Washington State to Florida saying we have armored vehicles for the American people, for the veterans, for the constitutionalists, for the patriots. And after all, we know how bad they are. That Alex Jones works for Red Skull. Marvel Comics sits up there and says Alex Jones works for Red Skull. When they are Red Skull. George Soros is the closest thing to Red Skull I've ever seen in my life. What a piece of filth. What a piece of trash. There is a war on for your mind. Captain America, in their new official big rollout, the black Captain America, battles pretty much exclusively white people. And white people that talk about the Bill of Rights and Constitution are hardcore murdering racists that want to kill Hispanics. But of course, Captain America comes and saves them. This is incredibly dangerous, folks. This is the weaponization of media. This is the same Soros combine that's funding this clash of civilizations, this attack on local police. And I've got a stack of police doing horrible things here today, and they're all being indicted. One of them has been put on leave and needs to be indicted, in my view. And there's certainly bad things going on with the police, but this entire clash of civilizations is about getting us all to fight with each other, obviously, while the globalists take over civilization. Look at how they'll fund right-wing Nazis against the Russians, or they'll fund radical Islamicists against Shiites. They are just launching wars, launching criminal operations, aggressing against people that have done nothing, and then imploding our borders all over the world. Rich nations are being told, you will pay for the third world after the globalists bring those countries down. It is a premeditated plan. And look at these articles today that ties into all this. Here's the real world that if you talk about it, Marvel says you're with Red Skull and puts you in the comic book. Imagine receiving that. Imagine being put in a comic book that millions of young people read where you want to kill Mexicans. Imagine how diabolical that is and how cunning that is. Convert or die, ISIS graffiti jihadists declare first European caliphate, Daily Star. The terror group's logo was dubbed on the wall of a restaurant in Gothenburg, Sweden. Chilling message. And all over Sweden, all over Germany, folks with burning torches, pipes, knives are marching. The police will do nothing. The caliphate is here, it reported. Military-age men pose on their Facebooks, recruiting women, saying, look at me with my weapons. This is who's coming in. ISIS said 6-7 months ago, we're going to flood Europe with a refugee crisis of young men. We're taking over. And Merkel opens the door. Merkel faces domestic revolt over refugee welcome. Yahoo News, AFP, Germany's Angela Merkel is used to owning the room when she speaks to her party faithful. But the mood turned hostile when she defended her open-door refugee policy this week. We had an article on Infowars.com yesterday, not one, but two German cities, towns. In one, they're bringing in 4,000 refugees into a town of 3,000. And they're saying, you will pay for it in local taxes, the governor said. And when they said, we don't like it, the governor said, get out of here then. Leave. And the people said, are you kidding? And the governor said, I'm not kidding. Get out of here. This is a conquering. This is a breaking. Your children belong to us. We'll arrest you if you criticize the open borders. We're reactivating Stasi. You cannot describe the criminal energy we're facing. Savage, focused, global, evil, exempt from taxes, exempt diplomatically, above the law, with bodyguards, disarming everyone else. Savage, craven, hateful. In the heated atmosphere, some of the 1,000-odd members of the meeting warned of a national disaster and demanded shuttering borders as Germany expects up to 1 million migrants this year. It's actually 4 million. Stop the refugee chaos. Save the German culture. Values. Dethrone Merkel read a banner in the Congress late Wednesday in the eastern state of Saxony. And it just goes on. Islam was never part of Europe. Hungary's Orban. The point is, Islam tried to invade Europe 8 different times. Then the Crusades counteroffensive, and I'm not even anti-Islamic, folks, but radical Islam is being funded by the West to bring us down. You think Cloward and Piven's the only professor group, that says we want to bankrupt everybody to make them dependent? There's always been a leftist, socialist, radical Islamic combo. The old Soviet Union funded radical Islam. Then it got taken over by the West after the fall of the Soviet Union. And it goes on. And now Russia's in the position that on the other side. Meanwhile, billionaire Soros, this is the London Guardian, billionaire Soros comes under fire in the homeland. Hedge fund mogul George Soros has come under fire in his native Hungary. It's also CNBC News, where politicians have accused him of supporting illegal migration amidst a refugee crisis that brought the right-wing government under pressure. Accusing him? Soros and his different societies are the ones that are coaching the team. And they've got their little quarterbacks out there running the ball. We're going to be back on the other side to go over this. It's just simply amazing. I'm sitting there watching that little promo intro that we've had for a few years, V for Vendetta. We're making a new one right now that's really powerful to be ready next week. And I was just thinking about truth is stranger than fiction. A lot of art imitates life. The Wachowski brothers admit that's what that film's about, where they see America and England going. And we're really now getting to that point. We're now coming to the point of where we live in a true high-tech brainwashing grid, where almost every TV show, movie, news article is written as a conscious deception to skew reality. Remember how they said that Obamacare was going to be free at first? Then it was going to cut your price in half. Then it was going to let you keep your doctor. And there were no death panels. There was no rationing of care. And 1 month after it passed, Newsweek, Time, the White House, all of them came out and said, guess what? There really are death panels. Bill Gates said it too. They had the cover of Newsweek, the case for killing grannies. And it was just so funny to them to rub it in our face. And now they have the don't treat list for the veterans. And they just sit there in our face, rubbing it in, dominating, setting the precedent with mass Stockholm syndrome and learned helplessness to fatigue the public spiritually, physically, psychologically into a broke-back submission. They're breaking our will. They're destroying our will to fight. Well, my will to fight against these monsters has never been stronger. And a lot of people have gone from the point of disbelief to awakening, to despair, to gutting up to realize we are against abject, conscious criminals. The most important thing we can do is understand no amount of extreme rhetoric can even get near how bad these people are. And that their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness. That they are so completely and totally over-the-top oppressive, so completely deceptive, so completely criminal and hateful of real freedom. And their will to conquer and dominate us is so crazed, so rabies-like, that a lot of people just can't believe it's actually happening, or they're intimidated by it and just tune out. But it doesn't matter if 50, 60% of people just decide to drool and get in a fetal position and urinate on themselves, crying for mommy, sucking their thumb. A large animated minority, a good 20% now, is really coming to grips with the fact that we are in the hands, we are in the clutches, we are in the talons of people that aren't going to give us quarter. We have no hope. We have no future. There's nothing left to do now but stand up against them. And you need to let Marvel Comics and Hollywood and Disney, the parent company, and all these big globalist operations know that you're fully aware of what savage social engineers they are, and how much hate they have for this country, and how they've conquered this nation, and that they plan on gutting what's left of it and turning us into third world slaves. You see, the people that run America took the treasure and the power of this republic and used it to pretty much take over the world. They're now trying to mop up the planet. Hollywood isn't even really totally focused on domestic now. It's mainly focused international. You go see any blockbuster, it's a bunch of world government, pro-communist China bilge. These are absolutely reprobate, anathema, soulless, heartless mercenaries at CNN, at MSNBC. I was watching Fox News yesterday. Shepard Smith, a clip on Infowars.com, dealing with Cuban troops now in Syria. And he was just up there over and over again using brainwashing terms to say that Russia was helping ISIS and that Russia had basically started everything and that Russia was bad. Well, Russia didn't start the fight. Russia has 2 international military bases, not 400. Russia doesn't put fluoride in their water. Russia doesn't force inoculate. Russia isn't trying to take my guns. Russia isn't saying the founding fathers are bad in Marvel Comics. As bad as Russia is, compared to the absolute traitorous, Russia's trying to stop the massive radical Islamic flow into Europe. Russia's openly saying George Soros wants to destroy America and Europe. Russia has openly banned more than 7 groups George Soros funds in Russia who he admits is there to overthrow the government. I mean, how bizarre is that a weirdo Nazi collaborator who's almost 90 years old runs MSNBC, the Huffington Post, Media Matters, and scores of other organizations, and all they do all day is attack Alex Jones, Matt Drudge, WorldNet Daily, free speech, talk radio, and the Russian government. And now George Soros, of course, from a year ago, we have this flashback I'm going to play in a moment. That's our next clip. Saying, don't underestimate Russia. Of course, don't underestimate Russia when you encircle it with radical jihad forces from Chechnya to Ukraine and start blowing up and attacking police and military bases. The same thing they're trying to get going here against police departments, recruiting centers, and military bases. We've got hardcore revolutionaries in control of the government who want a revolution against your church, want a revolution over your family, want a revolution over your bank account. They want to dominate you and break you. You understand? Like most rapists don't rape women because they want the pleasure of having sex with a woman. They do it because they like to break their nose, break their collarbone, break their cheekbone, and rape them and hurt them. That's the nature of hardcore, wicked, evil people. They want to get you in a FEMA camp and break your jaw with billy clubs. They want to burn your house down with you in it. They want to break your will and have your children. You understand that? And they're coming. And they mean business. And you notice I'm taking the gloves off of these people because this is the reality. They flooded Europe with 5 million radical Islamics the last year and a half. And they tell the Germans, you're going to come and compulsory volunteer, and you're going to clean their dorms, and you're going to make their beds while they sit there and spit on you. Well, we fill them full of leftist hatred. And you're not going to have Oktoberfest. And you're not going to wear short skirts. You're going to do what we say. You understand? Or you get out of here. You know, you're pro-life, you're pro-gun. Get out of New York. You don't want totally open borders and to pay for the whole world to come here? We're going to put you in a comic book as a terrorist. We're going to have a black Captain America kill you. How sick is that? While they give blacks double unemployment, when they know full well in every study fluoride is 2 to 3 times worse depending on the disease for Africans. I mean, fluoride is a death sentence long-term for any human, but you give it to black people. You like heart attacks, you like hypertension, you like high blood pressure, you like bone cancer, you like testicular cancer, you like liver cancer. Baby, fluoride to black people's a death sentence. Look it up. Just type in, fluoride causes more harm to blacks. But don't worry, Captain America likes you, is going to teach you to get the whitey, the poor, pathetic white down the road that's in the exact same globalist position you're in under attack. That's all they got is dividing us against each other. It's sick and it's filthy. Here's George Soros.
I'm talking about, for instance, the threat posed by Russia, a resurgent Russia. The European public and apparently many of the leaders are not sufficiently aware of that danger. And Europe doesn't behave like an association of countries that is under attack. So that's one of the major uncertainties, and it's really up to the international authorities to provide Ukraine the financial support that it needs in order to stand up to an actual military and financial assault, which is an assault on the very foundations of the values that the European Union is based on. So that's one very important thing we should talk more about.
Russia in 1991 turned off its air defenses and stopped doing patrols outside the country. NATO responded by moving heavy weapons and nuclear weapons up to the border of Russia and by sending in color revolution teams to bring Russia down. But George Soros gets up there, and he fought against Russia when he was a young man for the Nazis in police and secret police activities. And now we have to sit here and look at him lie and say that Russia is attacking Europe. But he's now under fire in his own homeland because people see right through it. Hedge fund mogul Soros has come under fire in his native Hungary, where politicians have accused him of supporting illegal migration amidst a refugee crisis that brought the right-wing government under pressure. Because that's mainly where folks are pouring in, is Hungary and Romania by the millions, and things are just collapsing, and Europe just says, take them, that's the way it is, ha, ha, ha. Then they call them racist because they don't want to. Now, earlier I showed you the Avengers from about a year and a half ago, where they've got me in there with Red Skull, where Red Skull runs the Tea Party to attack the peaceful immigrants, but Thor comes with Captain America and defeats the white people. But it's not good to have white people, white Captain America, and a white Thor defeating the evil white people. You've got to have a black Captain America to get the race war really going, who attacks a Tea Party group who's killing Mexicans on the border. And you can actually see the article with the comic up on Infowars.com. And it's, how dare you attack women and children because they're Hispanic? Shut up. We're doing the Lord's work and the Constitution. You will meet the serpent. But then Captain America comes down and takes them out. Let's scroll through it so folks can see it. Captain America is going to stand up against this Tea Party. Don't you ever worry. So, let's go ahead now and go to this piece, breaking it down, and then I'm going to go more over the propaganda. This is just one small sampling. Here it is.
Not something MacIver News typically covers, but Marvel Comics released the first issue of its new Captain America series on Wednesday. And Marvel decided to make some strong ideological statements on some hot political topics. The new villains in this comic are conservatives, who are portrayed as a right-wing terrorist group called the Sons of the Serpent. They stop a group of immigrants trying to cross the border, who they accuse of invading a sovereign land to spread disease and crime, take American jobs, and collect welfare. Then Captain America comes and beats them up. Those in the country who disagree with Captain America's new partisan agenda accuse him of being anti-American, against the Constitution. They even call him Captain Socialism. He says all he wanted to do was to bring folks together.
Oh, yeah.
Marvel Comics is owned by Disney, who also owns ABC and ESPN. The company is currently in the middle of reinventing itself, hoping to attract younger readers while capitalizing on the success of its movies. For the MacIver Institute, I'm Bill Osmolsky.
That's a good report by those folks, but this is unified. This isn't just Disney. It's all of the big six media companies owned and run by the big five banks. It's Fox Television Entertainment is full of all this. This is a total agenda in your face to demonize anyone that dares speak out against the end of sovereignty and being conquered by globalism, by multinationals who are enslaving the whole world. And selling the third world that, oh, we're going to push world government to give you all this free stuff. But 5 years ago when we got the World Treaty, the Danish text at Copenhagen, remember what it said? Right at double the taxes on the third world under carbon taxes that the first world's going to pay. It's really a death sentence for the third world, for Africa, for the Middle East, for poorer areas of Asia. But it doesn't matter, because the average person gets their news from comic books and Marvel TV shows and movies. I see full-grown men who believe this is real. Almost 2 weeks ago, the TPP was ratified globally by multinational corporations and foreign governments. Still, Congress has not been given itself that final treaty, and the American people, the enemy, are not allowed to see it. The Communist Chinese are, Monsanto is, Microsoft is, Apple is. But that's okay, because Apple has Al Gore on its board. So it's okay they have Foxconn factories with suicide nets, forced drugging, forced abortion on record. The daycare system for these major companies is chaining toddlers to light poles where they eat one meal a day and defecate on the side of the road. If your child plays in the backyard, they're taken at 5 o'clock at age 11. Age 11, your child plays till 6 in the backyard, your child will be taken. That's a true story. In China, suicide nets, children are chained. How are we going to compete with suicide nets and chain children? You see, these are hardcore, ultra-wicked people that run Apple, that run these major companies. They are so sinister, it is unspeakable. They are in a war against you and your family. I just cannot repeat this to you enough, how much they hate you. They've gotten everybody else's guns. They've gotten everybody else's private property. They haven't totally bankrupted Europe yet. That's why they're going to flood them with tens of millions of radical Islamics. Everyone's going to have to bow. You will be arrested if you even speak out by the totalitarians. I mean, they are hardcore. You fly a rebel flag, you're going to be charged with terrorism. People say, good, I don't like the rebel flag. Next, it's going to be your speech. And you notice it's all just accelerating. It's all just getting worse by the day. They're getting more naked. They're getting more open. CNN comes out and says we should ban the word he and she. We should shame everyone. Even having a sex is evil. Do you understand how Jim Jones that is? I mean, that is just hardcore cult brainwashing. No identity is allowed. You must be a blank slate with open eyes that follows whatever programming you're given on a daily basis. People say, well, it's crazy. No one will put up with this. No, they've got a lot of the young people. Young people are either incredibly awake or they are cult members now. Now, I'm going to start the next hour and get into a bunch of news I haven't even covered yet, but this is hardcore. It really is hardcore, and there's just so much. This is a huge news day. Then I'm going to open the phones up, and we're going to be taking a lot of your phone calls today at 800-259-9231. We are running some specials that end next week that help fund our operation, but also get you really great products, the lowest prices you're going to find them. The ProPure G2 filters and other systems we have are 10% off and free shipping. That is a massive discount, a massive special, free shipping, and 10% off with promo code WATER. We also have 20% off Secret 12 methylcobalamin. Super Male Vitality is also now back in stock, finally, after a few months. Expanding on that, probably the biggest special we have is free shipping and 10% off on InfoWars Select, My Patriot Supply food, the full spectrum of their highest quality food, the best storable food out there in my view. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. And in the face of this tyranny, we're getting more reporters, more camera people, more investigative journalists to cover more, to get in the face of the system more. Doing our part, upping our game against the globalists in the face of their counteroffensive. We're on the march. The empire is on the run. InfoWarsLife.com for the nutraceuticals. InfoWarsStore.com for the T-shirts, the Hillary for Prison, all of it. We're in a culture war. By the way, we're bringing down McDonald's. We're bringing down Monsanto. If we start now, it may take a decade, we can destroy Disney. We must do it. They're the enemy. No one support Disney. 100%. Absolute boycott. They are the enemy. Spread the word. Today. They hate America. They hate Christians. They hate your family. We are facing weaponized media. It's becoming more naked. They've legalized CIA operations in the media. We are the organic response. We have the secret weapon, the truth. And here is Jackson's breakdown.
Do you want to kill Nazis?
I don't want to kill anyone. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
I believe Captain America